This is the screw slider block. As we look at this Trammel toy, we have the pin slider block that we did already with the curved edges here and the snap pin from the Vex kit that goes into it. This one we're going to make now is the screw slider block, which has a screw that goes through and connects with a hex bolt nut on the bottom. We'll have a hexagon that we're going to extrude as a cut on the bottom that will hold the nut in place while the screw bolt goes down through and is tightened down onto that nut. Same as before, we've got basically two rectangles that we're going to clip the corners off using the chamfer tool, excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. First thing I want to do is save this right off the bat with my initials or your initials, and this is the screw slider block. And oops, I wanted to make sure I saved that in the right folder, which I don't think that I did. Want to make sure I'm saving that. I'll go my data panel, and it is right here, down here at the bottom. I'm going to move that, and I want to move it into my Trammel toy folder that I created. So I'll make sure that it's in there. Those two are old ones that I've done. I'll go ahead and close that now. I want to make sure my document is in inches, which it is. So I'm good to go. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a new component. And that component, I'm going to name it the screw slider block. All right. And at this point, I'm going to start these two rectangles on the bottom surface, or at the bottom here, and that's on the XZ plane. So I'm going to click on my Create New Sketch, going to select the bottom XZ plane. And at this point, I'll create a rectangle. Starting at the origin, the rectangle is the same as the pin slider block, which is 1.75 inches in width, 0.734 inches in height. And I got those dimensions from right here, 1.75 and 0.734. I'm going to zoom out so I can see this. I'm going to create another rectangle that is just attached to the two left and the right side, making sure that I have the X showing up so that it constrains it onto the line. So that means that it's connected right onto these lines on both sides. And then I'll use my dimension tool to dimension the distance between these two lines as 0.141. And that dimension I get right here and also down here. So I'll do the same thing. I'll dimension the bottom two lines so that they are 0.141, or I can click on the one above and it will link them together. So now if I change the top one, it'll automatically change the bottom one to match that. With that, I'm going to clip off the corners using my chamfer tool. So I'll go to Modify, Chamfer, Equal Distance. Click on my first corner here, change that dimension to 0.125, which it tells me down here on the lower view that it's 0.125 on all corners. So 0.125. And at that point, I can go around and keep clicking the other corners, and it's going to maintain that 0.125 until I stop doing these. And then on my last one, I'll go ahead and hit enter, and we're all good. Looks great. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and finish my sketch. Go to my home view. I'm going to use my press pull tool to extrude these two areas upward 0.355 of an inch. So I'll type in 0.355. And these are square. We don't have to do any rounding off of these. These are what they are. They're done. I'm going to go into my component. I'm going to expand it so I can see the included folders. Go to my sketches folder then and turn that sketch on. Click on this middle section and extrude it up 0.844 inches. And whoops, my press pull tool. Now I can, let me get that. 0.844 inches goes up. I can hit my home view. I'm going to turn that sketch back off. And if I look at this, it looks just like this now. It just needs a hole that goes the whole way through. So when I look at this, This tells me I need a 0.177 diameter hole that goes the whole way through on the center of this surface. So I can create a hole on this top surface here. If I look at the top surface and go grab that with my hand, you'll see there's a little dot in the center. I'm going to go ahead and click on that dot. It'll snap right to it. That's where my hole will go. So it's centered it on this whole, the whole object. My hole goes the whole way through. That's what through means. So I'm going to say my extents is all. And it is just a basic hole with a diameter of 0.177. So I'm going to change my diameter down here at the bottom to 0.177. And I'll go ahead and click OK. And I now have a hole that goes the whole way through, and that hole is the same size the whole way through. So I'll go back to my home view. I actually want to now draw my hexagon, but I need to draw that on the bottom. So I'm going to click on this so I can get down to the bottom. I'm going to create a new sketch on the bottom. And under Create, I'm going to go down to where it says Polygon, and I want a circumscribed polygon. So once I've got that, I'll go to the center of the circle, and it will snap to it for me. And I'll start to drag out. It doesn't matter how far I drag out. It doesn't matter how I place this on here. However I want. I'm going to go over here just off to the right side. Kind of looks like it's my top and bottom points are aligned vertically. Doesn't matter. There's no specifics on this. And then I'm going to dimension the 2 points. This point here and straight, or not straight across, not the one at the bottom, but the one over on the lower right side. And I'm going to take my dimension tool, and I have to get it just right to where it will come out at an angle like this. And when I do that, then I'm going to dimension that dimension to be 0.386. 0.386. And I'll hit enter, and it will size that across there from top to, or from the two edges to be 0.386, which will be big enough for the nut for our screw or bolt to fit in. I'll go ahead and finish my sketch. Use my press pull tool. I'll click on that, and I'm going to do a cut, which is upward. And that cut goes in for a distance of, and I'm going to have to click on my image here so you can see it. It goes in, it's for a distance of 0.255. So that's how deep that hole is for that hexagon. So I'll come back over here, and my depth is 0.255, but it's a cut, so it's a negative 0.255. I'll hit enter to that, and you can now see that it cut my hexagon out, which will hold the nut in place, and then I have a hole the rest of the way through, which will allow the bolt to come down through and then screw into the hexagon, or the hexagon nut. But it will also be big enough or small enough for the hole that the head of the bolt will stay on top. So we'll be in good shape with that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my home view. Make sure when you take your screen snip that you get the title in here so that we have the title with your initials. And that is all you need for the screw slider block.